A week nonetheless.
Bro, relax.
It's been a week.
People have been busy with their
The only thing I'm trying to say is, like, when you look at these movies, like, what did they actually add to, like, the culture? And it was like
not everything has to add to the culture.
That's what I'm saying is, like, it was really just a movie just to make merch and just for the sake of making another Star Wars trilogy. Like, that's really all it was. They essentially took, like, they just cherry-picked a bunch of stuff from the first 6 movies and applied it how they saw fit.
And they also just said, hey, Rian Johnson, you know that thing that you did? We're going to retcon everything. Like, they just retconned the entire trilogy pretty much. And like I told you, movies get sequels if it breaks the box office. They get trilogies if the sales are great.
Speaking of merch, even though, kind of bring it back to what you originally brought up, like about Marshawn Lynch, do you think that this is like a money play for them to kind of bring Marshawn Lynch out of nowhere? Is it just for, like, you know, I get it for the logistics of, like, the game and trying to...
It would be cheap.
But also, too, like, don't you think that a lot of fans will be like, oh, like, they'll have more of that following again? Or do you think they're not even concerned or worried about that at all?
No, I don't think it's that, only because, you know, Marshawn never really officially retired. So I'm sure it was a situation where his agent kept in contact, you know, with various teams saying, hey, you know, we know you guys don't have a spot for us right now or whatever, but, you know, we're staying in shape. You know, he's ready to go. You guys need him type of situation. And I'm sure he did that with the Seahawks, you know, who he has a relationship with. I'm sure he did it with a few teams, but ultimately the Seahawks, they had an opening. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like it was a situation to where they always knew he was kind of like their 5th running back, even though he wasn't with the team. But now he's with the team, and now it's his time.
And it's kind of like the ending to the Star Wars trilogy. It's like everything comes home.
Oh, my God.
It is. It's a perfect Hollywood ending. He comes back to a team where he became a legend, arguably the greatest running back in franchise history. Okay. I'm just saying, let's say he scores a touchdown, has one more great run in him, and he helps them win the game. Or he
I think we talked about it before.
He gets the ball on the 1-yard line.
I think he's a player who has, you know, a good game in him or a couple good games in him. But in terms of being like a consistent guy that can get you 4 yards even when there's 8 or 9 guys in the box, I don't know if he's that guy anymore. But could I see him get 80 yards and, you know, 30 receiving yards and a touchdown in a playoff game? Yeah, for sure, definitely.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he would be enough to where the defense has to respect your run game ability. And, yeah, they might actually give him the ball on the 1-yard line this time.
I mean, I think at this point it's like, well,
it's a feel-good story.
Have Lynch or
Robert Turbin
out there, you know?
Robert Turbin, who they cut and brought back because he played with the Colts for a little bit. Yeah, so you got Robert Turbin and Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
I think, Travis Homer? I don't know if Travis Homer's hurt, but it's kind of like, yeah, I would probably call Marshawn too. And the fact that he's still willing to be, they're only even willing to come back shows, hey, I mean, Earl Thomas, that situation can't be salvaged. Richard Sherman, but at least they did right by Marshawn. Now, it's funny how, like, they need him now. Like, when they really should have used him, they didn't, and then they threw him away, but now they actually need him. So it's funny how life works. It's all cyclical. And now they need him. So I think it's fantastic that he's coming back. And I think the Raiders misused him, and I think he should have had 1,000 yards his first year in Oakland, to be honest. But now he could have. The way Derek Carr was throwing the ball everywhere being trash, there's no reason why Marshawn Lynch couldn't have had 1,000 yards had he been given more touches early in the season.
Yeah, I'm not with you on that one, but go ahead.
Go back and look at the stats. Go look at the stats and go look at how much they weren't giving him the ball. And even when they weren't giving Marshawn the ball on the 1 yard line, and everybody freaked out about it. His first year in Oakland, when he had like 896 or something like that. I think that's how many rush yards he had. But I think he probably got three more good games left in him. If they're going on a Super Bowl run, I say this is like the most you'll see of Marshawn. This is the best, which, by the way, it's ironic because the film about him that I went and saw, Marshawn, from that director, it's funny how he comes back. And I got to watch that film again because it was really good. And I'm going to watch it again and see how – I'm just making note of like how the media and everyone's excited that he's back now. But y'all got to go back and watch that Marshawn Lynch documentary. It was really good. So, yeah, it's really interesting that now that he's back, the media loves him. And like his mom said, like he has his own soul food restaurant in Oakland. He has a chef. He's been working out. It's not like he's been doing nothing. I mean, he still like will eat. Probably he still shows up with a car full of Skittles, and some of his younger teammates are inspired by him by seeing him. But I mean, I think I would say this because I think what's happening with Marshawn might happen with Cam Newton next year if they bring him back. I think if Cam Newton comes back healthy at all next year, they're not going to look at him as the franchise guy. He's clearly not the guy anymore. You saw what DJ Moore did and Christian McCaffrey did without him. Cam comes back. Let's say he becomes a spot starter, wins a couple games, and they decide they're going to trade him. Bro, I think they're going to
major stretch. Cam Newton,
if he even comes back,
was drafted a Panther. He took the Panthers to a Super Bowl.
Which we're going to get to that later.
Just turning 30 years old.
Major foot injuries, though. Major foot injuries.
Totally different situation.
And Kyle out. Yeah, but they might use him the same way. They fired Ron Rivera,
he
bro.
He plays quarterback. And Kyle Allen evened out towards the end of the season. So,
but I get that. But there's Will Greer there, and they also used, let's be honest, they used Cam's best years as using him as a running back and not a quarterback. Can we be honest? When he finally got an offensive coordinator, it was too late. Let's just keep it a buck.
That's always what Cam was. That's where he was when he came in the league.
Nah, bro. But Lamar Jackson. What was he his first year in the league?
That's how you get Lamar. That's how you get Cam Newton to a Super Bowl in 5 years or whatever.
No. I think had they put more people around him, he wouldn't have had to do as much, especially in the run game.
He had people around him.
D'Angelo Williams was kind of on his last leg. Yeah, also was his best receiver, but
he had John Stewart.
He had Ted Ginn Jr.
McCaffrey.
No, he didn't. No, not those Super Bowl years. McCaffrey just recently got there 2 years ago.
No, I know, but I'm saying during then he had D'Angelo Williams and John Stewart.
Stewart was always hurt.
Not like his backs were washed.
They were hurt. Stewart was washed. Stewart's been washed for like 5 years. If we keep it at a buck,
he was still solid.
Nah, bro, he was hurt. Even the year he had like 10 touchdowns, I think the Super Bowl year, I think he only averaged like 3.8 yards a carry. He's been hurt for a minute. And D'Angelo Williams, they just didn't want to. He wanted the ball way more than they were going to give it to him. It was a work done Mike Vick situation.
All right, man. Well, we're on the tangent.
That's the point of this show. But anyway, so on to the next topic. And we're going to double back to Cam towards the end because you can't really talk about this decade of sports without Cam Newton.
Well, you guys keep talking about bringing people coming back, but you guys also, what about Big Ben from the Steelers?
Oh, speaking of people that I don't really care if they come back or not, because, I mean, he blocked me on Twitter. Shout out to Ben Roethlisberger blocking me and like half the world on Twitter. Yeah, he announced that he's coming back next year, and then he blocked a bunch of people on Twitter. And honestly, now I just feel like it's a badge of honor. Shout out to Katie Nolan, who's like, this is a badge of honor for everyone who got blocked. And Rich Eisen's like, I didn't get blocked. I'm just saying. It means more that you blocked me than it means that you didn't block me. So I'm going to just take that, because I tried to Google it and his name wouldn't come up. I was like, damn, Ben really blocked me. But I've said a lot of shit about Ben Roethlisberger that I stand on and I'd say to his face. So there goes that. But anyway, so speaking of being blocked and coming back next year, the Cincinnati Bengals, with their loss to, I think, the Dolphins, they pretty much locked up the number 1 overall pick. And their first-round pick this year, Alabama left tackle Jonah Williams, popped his tricep, the same as Billy Price did last year. He's been done for the whole year. And now they have the number 1 overall pick. And I'm just saying, like, all their top picks have been cursed. Like, their last, like, 4 first-round picks have all been on season-ending IR at one point. Willie Jackson, the Texas Tech tackle, guard, whatever he is now, Jonah Williams. I mean, what's your hopes, expectations for the Bengals? Because if they get Chase Young, that might just be the kiss of death. Or if they get Joe Burrow, that might be the kiss of death too. So, like, what do you see? What's up with the Bengals, Pete? Damn, the Duppies. Damn, the sleep apnea sigh.
Why are we talking about the Bengals in Week 17 of the NFL season?
Because they won by losing first. And all their draft picks the past 5 years have all gotten injured. So it's kind of a big deal. Like, if you're Joe Burrow, do you really want to go first in the draft? If you're Chase Young, do you really want to go first in the draft?
I think the bigger issue is they're kind of like in a situation that the Cardinals are in last season, where it's like it's not really the coach's fault, but the coach isn't really helping, and it's like,
because he's Zach Taylor.
Yeah, do you want to give this guy a quarterback? Because if he's not it as far as a coach, then you're looking at putting that influence on your QB and then giving him a new offensive coordinator in year 2, which makes, year 1 to year 2 is the year where you're supposed to have the jump. So having a new offensive coordinator just kind of delays that further. So is that what the Bengals are going to do? Like, I don't know. And, in terms of defense, I think if everyone says, if Burrow and LSU wins the title and he comes out and he is what everyone says he is, I don't see a reason why you don't take that number 1 overall. As great as a defensive player is, I mean, when it really comes down to it, though, and you have to decide, do I want an elite offensive player or an elite defensive player? In this day and age, you go with quarterback, especially if you're a team like the Bengals that really hasn't had a quarterback, like, in 3 decades, 2 decades.
Because Andy Dalton's been trash. And A.J. Green pretty much been hurt all year. He's done for the year.
That's the other part of it, too. So it's like, do you get a new coach? And, like, do you bring back A.J. Green? John Ross was on the trade block for a bit. Like, what sort of situation where are the Bengals really at? Like, are they ready to start trading away Dunlap and Geno Atkins? And, those players that are 29, 30 years old at the apex of their careers, like, are they ready to go full rebuild? Or is it a matter of, like, okay, we just need a quarterback and we're right back where we were 2 years ago?
Which is like, what, 3rd in the AFC North? Because Lamar Jackson,
a contending wild card team, but yeah, you're right.
If you look at the quarterbacks in this division, you got Baker, Lamar, and apparently Ben Roethlisberger. The Bengals just have Andy Dalton and Ryan Finley. So even if you throw in a quarterback, his left tackle of the future is hurt. His offensive line is in shambles. That's why Joe Mixon had no help. You got a good receiving core, but AJ Green is kind of a shadow of himself.